So that's a good segue to our next topic is the NFL.
Yeah, let's
Obviously,
get to some real topics. Let's get to some fun stuff.
yes, the NFL will be back tomorrow, guys. So you
Man,
guys have been
can't wait.
waiting all summer long, all spring long, and we have the Eagles and the Cowboys tomorrow night, which is gonna be fun because obviously what happened with Jerry's World and Micah Parsons, so there's all that drama. And then you also have the champs trying to defend their title. So, Eric, I thought we would at least get into some predictions for the season, at least look at the divisions from the AFC and NFC, and then see what wild cards we have for each of those conferences as well. And then we'll finish with a Super Bowl pick.
Yeah, man. Let's do it. Something to keep in mind, guys, that I was looking at. And so if you're trying to think of the teams that you expect to make it next year. So this will be the fifth season of the current structure with the playoffs. So 7 teams for each conference. So we'll see what happens, obviously, with last year's teams. But the first 3 years, the following year, 6 to 7 teams that made the playoffs one year did not make it the very next year, if that makes sense. So it's either 6, 7. So it was 6, 7, then 6. So what I'll be
6, 7. If you guys get that reference,
6, 6, 7,
Sorry.
6, 6, 7, 6.
Go ahead. I'm just trying to keep up with the young kids, but okay.
Yeah, yep. So while we're picking our teams, I know I'm going to be thinking about. I damn well better have at least 5, 6 teams that weren't in the playoffs last year because it's going to happen. We know the NFL. We have our top teams, but after that, it's there's definitely a little bit of parity, and you got teams that'll just jump out of nowhere. And so we'll see if we got some surprise picks in there.
Yes, sir. All right. So let's start off with the AFC, and I'll just give my division winners right off the bat for that. Okay. So I got the AFC East, those Buffalo Bills dominating the division. So they're coming out of there. For my AFC North pick, it is the Ravens. For AFC South, this is probably the surprise pick here, but it is Colts and Danny Dimes returning to a Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield type of style. And then we have the AFC West, which is the Kansas City Chiefs, because I'm never going to pick against them winning that damn division.
Yeah. I know. We talked about like picking new teams, and it's just a little bit tough. Nope. AFC is just stacked. It's tough to choose a 7. But yeah, so I'll start with you. AFC East. It pains me to say it as a really big Miami Dolphins fan. You gotta beat the champs to be the champs. Barring any injuries, I can't see anybody else other than Buffalo winning that division. And then if we go to the AFC North, actually, I'm going to go kind of going somewhere else. I'm going to go Cincinnati Bengals and AFC North, which will be a bit of that'll be one team that didn't make it last year. And then the AFC South, Duval. Is that what? Duval? Is that what the guy was saying?
Duval.
I'm going to go Jacksonville Jaguars to take the AFC South. No rhyme or reason, just gut feeling. And then, yeah, I'm going to just have to go with the Chiefs in the West for sure.
That was easy. Yeah, I mean, I think what that shows us, at least for the AFC, is that we don't know who the hell is coming out of the AFC South. Okay. I do feel like
Houston's a favorite, but
Houston is the favorite, but that division is going to be like a 500 division where there's probably going to be multiple. And I can even see Tennessee being okay and being within the division race. Just because there's no real threat. I think Houston has kind of downgraded their team, to be honest with you. They lost Stephon Diggs. They lost pretty much more than likely Joe Mixon's not going to play a lot of the season. and lost the offensive lineman. And so I don't think they're as good as they've been. So I think that division is definitely up for grabs.
Yeah, with the winner probably being 9-7, that'll probably tell you that it's just as usual. It's probably going to be the one team making it to the playoffs from that division. Whoever ends up winning it, I would say.
For sure. All right. So for my AFC wildcard teams, I have those Cincinnati Bengals because I do think they're going to make the playoffs this year. As long as they can stop somebody on defense and protect Joe Burrow, they definitely make the playoffs. Then we got the little Denver cute team. I know everybody's on them right now. I do believe they should make the playoffs. I think that AFC West is just going to be a gauntlet because I think the Chargers are going to make the playoff. That's my third team is the Chargers. So I think 3 of the teams are going to come out of the AFC West. And I do think even Oakland is going to be – I'm sorry. Did I really say Oakland? The Las Vegas Raiders are going to be even damn
Pete Carroll,
contenders in this division as well. Because you got such great coaches in there. You got Pete Carroll, obviously, Andy Reid, and then you got Sean Payton. So you got all these guys, and obviously Jim Harbaugh. So you got 4 guys that are just stud coaches. So likely you're going to get at least 3 teams from that division.
Yeah, it's tough. You got about 7-8 teams to take up about 3 spots. Maybe who gets second in the AFC South might be battling. You got the Steelers, obviously the Ravens, got the Chargers, Broncos, maybe the upstart Raiders, who I think might still be. I think that I could see him getting 6-7 wins, maybe 8. But I'm going to have to go with Ravens as a wild card since I had Bengals winning the division. I'm going to have to go Chargers, which Denver and Chargers. I think one of them are going to make it, and one of them are going to be staying home. It's going to be one of those. It could come down to last couple of games of the season, and I'm going to do a little homer pick. I'm sorry, I have to. I think the number 7 team. I think nobody's really talking about them, and I think I like that as a Dolphin fan. Not much expectation. I'm going to put Miami as the 7 seed in the AFC playoffs. Tua. Yeah.
Eric, I know you're a homer, but if the Dolphins make the playoffs, I mean,
I'm going to actually real quick. So the Chargers play at Denver, okay. Cam, week 18 it is. That'll be for a playoff spot. Loser goes home.
Yeah.
Miami will be in there.
I can see Denver possibly not making the playoffs just because they're so hyped this offseason. I can see them falling apart a little bit, and not really leading up to the hype. I just don't think it would be Dolphins. However, there is one common theme that we have here, and that's the Steelers not making the playoffs, Eric, with Aaron Rodgers. Is that why do you not have them then?
There's the death taxes and Steelers being a game or 2 above 500 and making the playoffs, right? That's typical. I think they're going to be there defensively. They'll be sound. I just think they're in a tough division, tough schedule. I think they'll be right there, but just something tells me, Aaron Rodgers the last few years, obviously 1 year being injured, his last year with Green Bay and then last year with the Jets. Let's be honest. We haven't seen it in about 4 years. And so that's what I'm thinking, that it's just going to be tough. And so they're going to win some games. I think just naturally it's the Steelers. They're going to be a tough out, but I see them on the outside looking in when it's all said and done.
Yeah, agreed. I just don't think it's going to be a fit. I know everybody wants to make it a fit. I just don't see Tomlin and Aaron Rodgers a fit. And I think they are going to be horrendous on offense. I just don't think they have the talent. I'm just being honest with you.
Yeah.
They don't have a running back. They traded for DK Metcalf, got rid of Pickens. They don't have they don't have a second receiver. They might have some tight ends. And one of the worst reasons I think they're going to be bad is Arthur Smith is their OC.
Oh boy.
I just don't think, and I think I think we were talking before after last season is what did Pittsburgh have to do differently? I felt like obviously you're not going to fire Tomlin. I mean, he's done nothing but an amazing job, but I thought they needed to get younger and open-minded offensive coordinators, some that can air it out, just different schemes, totally young guy, and they go out and have Arthur Smith as their OC. And we all know what happened in Atlanta. And I still don't know what kind of offense that he got hyped for in Tennessee because I didn't think they were a great offensive team in Tennessee.
So yeah, were more smash mouth? Like
everybody talked about how Tennessee's offense. Yeah, it was just Derrick Henry. That was Tennessee's offense.
Give him the ball.
Don't tell me they were a great team. It was just Derrick Henry. So I don't see them being that type of that team, that explosive offensive team. And then you got Aaron Rodgers, who's used to having a team that he can air it out and spread out the team. And you got a guy that just wants to really run the ball and have two tight end lineups. So I just don't see it working at all. And I wouldn't be surprised if it goes out really bad.
Yep. I could see that too. So we'll see. We got this recorded. Maybe I'll jot it down. We'll get back to it at the end of the season. And obviously as the season goes, we know there's going to be some ups and downs to our picks and for everyone's picks. So we'll see. What about the NFC?
All right. So let's get to the NFC. You want to do yours first with this one?
Yeah, I'll go first. So I'm going to just look here. So if I start with the NFC East, so I got to tell you something. This is why I'm picking this. So it's been since 2004 since there's been a repeat NFC East champion. So I'm sticking with it. So Eagles, remember, they did make the Super Bowl 3 years ago, and they were very competitive against Kansas City, and they had a little bit of a rough year the next year. There's no rhyme or reason for it, but sometimes those hangovers are real. And so I'm going to go with the Commanders of Washington, DC, to win the NFC East. The North, sorry to say, but I'm just going to go with the champ from the last couple of years. I'm going to go with the Detroit Lions. NFC South, going to stick with the same team there, the Tampa Bay Bucks. NFC West, I'm going with the Los Angeles Rams. And those are my division winners.
All right. Yeah, I remember that stat with the NFC East, and I was like, I almost I did forget about like how long it's been, but I remember hearing that last year. We're like, damn, they actually there's never a repeat division champion.
It's gonna happen, obviously, at some point. So it might be this year.
This year is going to happen because I got the Eagles coming out of the NFC East. For the NFC North, I have the Green Bay Packers. Yes, I am a Green Bay Packer fan, but with the trade for Micah Parsons and the Packers going all in on this squad, them being the youngest team for the third year in a row, which means they have grown together and they're starting to build that core. I think it's their time to shine. I feel like Detroit lost both coordinators, offensive and defensive, and I think that is always a recipe for a down year. And then Minnesota, to me, just doesn't have a proven quarterback with J.J. McCarthy yet, so I really can't put them up there. And with Chicago, they pretty much have a new coach, and it's going to take a little while for that system to be implemented. Now, the NFC South, I got the surprise team of the year,
Falcons,
the Carolina
Panthers.
Don't be surprised by the end of this year if Bryce Young has completely turned everybody around. When he got benched last year, obviously is a humbling experience, but after he reclaimed his job, essentially threw for more than one touchdown every single game. He started getting that offense churning and really getting that offense in a whole new direction. And I feel like going into this year, they added a stud wide receiver. They got a great running back, and I feel that he will take this offense to another level. And they'll be one of the most explosive offenses in the NFL this year. And I also just feel that division is up for grabs. Like it could be Tampa, it could be Falcons.
Oh yeah.
And I don't think the Saints have a chance, but I think those three teams do for sure. And then for my NFC West winner, it's the Niners, man. They have the easiest schedule in the NFL, and they've always rebounded after a bad year. So that's not going to surprise me. I think I can't trust the Rams yet because I don't know what I'm getting out of Stafford.
Yeah, absolutely. When I was trying to pick my playoff teams, again, it was a fight of a few teams, but one thing that stood out was that San Francisco 49ers schedule. Man, it has got 11, 12 wins written all over it, at least. And so, things happen. You have like a Carolina there who might be better than expected, as you mentioned. And there's always some teams there that you think it's a shoe-in W, and they're just a lot better than predicted. So it doesn't mean anything, but I do see a bounce back from San Fran. So that's definitely one of my wild card teams. So we could just kind of jump into that. One of the toughest decisions for the division was Detroit and Green Bay, because I think Detroit potentially could be in for a down year. They're one of those teams that really they're solid now. And I think last year they really disappointed in the playoffs, and something like that does at times spill over. But I just kind of I went with them, obviously. But because of that, I do go with Green Bay as a wild card team. And then I have the Philadelphia Eagles as my third wild card team. Not necessarily in that order, but those are the three I have. I actually myself had kind of like that Carolina, Atlanta as a little bit of a wild card for the wild card. But those are my teams going into this year.
Yeah, those are solid choices. For me, I have the Commanders as a wild card. I think Jaden Daniels and then boys will be playing pretty well. I also have the Lions, right? You had them a division winner. I just have them in the wild card. And then my last one, I think will come to a surprise for pretty much everybody. But I got Jerry's Cowboys. I got the Cowboys, man. I feel like I'm not saying like everybody wants to write him off because of everything that's happened, especially just Jerry in general. But we got to remember that when Dak Prescott is healthy and that offense is churning, he's a pretty damn good quarterback. They traded for Pickens, and so you put Pickens next to CeeDee Lamb, which is going to make CeeDee Lamb better. They still have Jake Ferguson. I would say their run game is probably going to be the most questionable, but I think they'll find a way to get one of those backs or have multiple backs kind of contributing there. And I think Schottenheimer, that's what he is. He's offensive coordinator, right? So I think getting that offense to flow will be good. And if they can just get some more defense, I think they can be a surprise team in the NFC. And also just think the NFC is pretty weak in general. So I got three teams coming out of the NFC East this time.
Who was the coach again? Yeah, that kind of that kind of tells me
why you gotta disrespect my man,
my man Schottenheimer. Well, I'll do say this. So they got Philly, going to be tough. Then they got the Philly. Then they got the Giants, Chicago, Green Bay, Giants again, Carolina, Arizona in there. So they need to have a quick start, because it just does get a little kind of daunting and towards the kind of middle second half of the season. So, I don't anticipate them, having a great year like a lot of people, but it seems like when you expect a lot out of Dallas, they don't come through, and when you don't expect much, they surprise people. So,
like, don't be surprised if they win tomorrow night and Jerry's on the field like cheering. You know how Jerry would get. You know what Jerry would be doing when he'll be dapping up everybody, acting like he won the game.
oh yeah, you know what I'm saying?
So to
get that
me,
championship.
Don't be surprised if something like that happens tomorrow night.
The funny thing is, you don't have my Super Bowl pick even making the playoffs.
Oh, shit.
Spoiler alert.
Oh. Well, Eric, let's get right into the Super Bowl. So, since I don't have your pick making the playoffs, now I can't think of who it is. But yeah, go ahead with your playoff prediction.
Super Bowl?
Yep. I mean, Super Bowl.
All right. Super Bowl, what is it? 60?
Are we?
Hold on. Super Bowl.
No, 50?
Is it 60? Yeah, Super Bowl 60, 60. Wow. LX, Santa Clara, California. So I'm going to have a team that from the AFC that has just come so close year after year. Haven't made the Super Bowl in a long, long time. This might be the year. If they don't make it, I think the head coach could be bye-bye. Hello, Belichick. Anyways, that's another thought. Go North Carolina. How about them Tar Heels? Anyways, I got the Buffalo Bills against the Los Angeles Rams. Super Bowl 6-0.
Wow.
Yeah.
Right. I mean,
I don't think you had the Rams there, right?
I do not have the Rams in the playoffs. So that is definitely going to be a pretty interesting pick. And if it happens, I think it'll be a good one. For me, it did boil down to two teams for the AFC. And Buffalo is one of those teams because I feel like Buffalo is a team that's just on the cusp. They're either going to be like, the Indiana Pacers or those Knicks squads that just couldn't get by the Bulls, and they just never get by until the Chiefs are completely done and Mahomes is not there, or they just make that stride. But for me, it was between two teams, Bills and the Ravens. And I feel like it's the Ravens this year are going to be able to get by the Chiefs and get by the Bills. I know Lamar has struggled in the playoffs, and it's so unfortunate to see. But I feel like this year will be the year when you look at offensively how they are, defensively. I think they have everything what they need to get to the final. I mean, to the Super Bowl, and so I got them there. In my NFC, I got the returning champs in the Super Bowl.
Okay,
I got the Eagles. So I got Ravens, Eagles, and to win the Super Bowl, I'll just go ahead and say mine. I got the Ravens. Lamar holding out the trophy.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like we're kind of on the same pathway in the AFC in terms of just maybe a little Chiefs fatigue. So you got to figure there's one of those years that one of these teams that have been chomping at the bits kind of breaks through. And so it all depends on seeding and things like that, where teams face each other. So yeah, I can see either one of those two or a surprise team or hell, even the Chiefs again. But I do have Buffalo ultimately winning their first ever Super Bowl, kind of solidifying Josh Allen's kind of his career, his legacy. See it being a pretty good game, obviously, against the Rams. And yeah, I mean, and the NFC is just kind of gut filling. Matt Stafford, that has a big, that looms large, obviously, right? His health. And so it's not always this simple. Believe me, I know it's not. There's so much that goes to it, but I'm like, there's one team that really gave Philly the run for their money, and they're about a play away from beating Philly last year. And again, that doesn't probably mean much the following season, but I love their defense. It's a year older, wiser. They, signed Devontae Adams. It's just all about Matthew Stafford and see if he can stay healthy. But either way, I think it'd be a tremendous Super Bowl, whether if it's Baltimore, Philly, or Buffalo and the Rams.
Yeah, no, those are good points on the Rams because they were a play away from getting the Super Bowl in the snow as well, right? So,
Yep.
if they have more of a home field advantage or they handle business the regular season, that will help them kind of being at home at SoFi. And you're right, though. Their defense was young and very good last year. And that means they brought back everybody for the most part. And they're just another year wiser. And that could be a good thing. And yeah, they're offensively, having Devontae Adams is going to help. And then having Kyron Williams, they have all the offensive talent and the offensive coach to get there. To me, it just, being a physical therapist and kind of always talking about the injuries, it's the Matthew Stafford thing for me that it's hard for me to make that as a prediction right now. Now, if
Yep.
6 weeks from now you see that he's balling and he's looking good and he's withstanding all the hits, then yeah, they definitely could be Super Bowl contenders.
Yep. Yeah, I'm just kind of banking on the whatever Rams are saying and preaching for it to be true, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Got a long season ahead. Super excited. We know there's going to be some ups and downs for some of those top teams, and we know that there's going to be a few teams that we probably didn't even mention that are going to be right in the thick of things, maybe making the playoffs, maybe going on a deep run, and so that's what makes the NFL and football so fun. Is that when you have, even though you have, like, we had a run with the Patriots, we have a run now with the Chiefs, there still is that element of surprise.
100%, man. So great show tonight, Eric. And we will have obviously football back tomorrow. So we will be doing a quick recap of the game tomorrow, pretty much right after the game ends. And then get a little show in tomorrow. And then we'll have our next show Sunday night, which will recap all the games on Sunday. And obviously, we never want to see injuries, but injuries are a part of football. And we'll be recapping those on Sunday night as well. So, Eric, anything else before we leave?
Just, I can't wait. Can't wait for tomorrow. Sounds like you got the Cowboys, right?
Oh, yeah. I think there's going to be an upset. I think it's one of those where you got the champs there, and it's hard when they get their rings and the banners and all that stuff. And I think there's just been so much negativity towards Dallas. The only thing they can do is galvanize and come together as a team and just try to dominate. So I can see them kind of winning tomorrow, and that could spur some hope in this team and kind of getting into the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, I think historically you do see some struggle from the defending champs. It's just one of those nights, and so that's possible. So that's why I see being closer than it maybe would be later in the year. But I think Eagles will ultimately prevail in a tight one, and so yeah, let's see what happens, and we'll chat about it tomorrow night.
Sounds good. So anybody on here, please hit the subscribe button on our YouTube. Make sure you hit the notifications because we'll be having shows Sunday night, Tuesday, Thursday for football season. So recapping injuries, recapping kind of fantasy adjustments that you got to make, and then obviously anything that happens in the NBA as well. And then as soon as the NBA season starts, we'll be all over it. So, all right, guys, from the Hoops Rehab team, we are now out tonight, but we will see you tomorrow. Peace out, guys.
Peace out.